Greetings, Chris here, founder of GIP Squared. This is lesson 4 in What is Our Money series. Today's topic is a humdinger. We have 3 things to discuss. We're going to learn about currency creation, fiat currency, and compound interest. First up, currency creation. Here are 6 words and terms that are used by world leaders, government officials, and Federal Reserve officials. They are bailout, debasing the currency, deficit spending, quantitative easing, raising the debt ceiling, and stimulus package. All 6 of these words mean the same thing. They're synonyms with one another. Remember our orange juice container? Where when there was no more orange juice, we opened the top and we started putting water in. It lowered down, we opened the top and started putting more water in. That's all these words mean. It's the same thing. It's watering down the currency. It's called currency creation. Okay, next up, fiat currency. What is it? Fiat currency was created in August 15th, 1971. In the United States, President Richard M. Nixon declared that money is no longer attached to precious metals. So that was the last nail in the coffin. So another term to understand is called floating currency. What does floating currency mean? Now imagine having a helium balloon with a ribbon attached to it, and the ribbon is wrapped around a gold brick. So the gold brick is holding down the helium balloon. So the helium balloon, think of that as currency and backed by precious metals. What President Richard M. Nixon did in 1971, it's like having a pair of scissors and snipping the ribbon. What is the balloon gonna do? It's gonna rise and start floating around. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what's been happening since 1971. That is what fiat currency is. It's floating currency. It's just chaos. It's a group of individuals trying to keep the monetary system intact. It's just floating around. It's backed by nothing. It's only us trusting in government officials. So let's talk about generations right now. If you notice, the snipping of the helium balloon was done in Generation X. They were the last generation to be backed by sound money of precious metals. So according to my calculations, the 2 generations that are hurting the most right now is Gen Y, which are called millennials, and Gen Z, okay? If you are a Gen Y, a millennial, or a Gen Z, your parents were probably born in Generation X when the snipping happened. So what I've learned is the richest generation, the most abundant generation, if you're a Gen Z or a millennial, probably your grandparents were the richest because they're called the silent generation. It has nothing to do that they were smarter than you. It has to do with the money and the money supply, what they were doing with the money supply. That's why it's so hard for millennials. They're working 2 jobs, they went to college, they're paying off their debt. The math ain't mathin' because it's all watered down. That is what's been happening. So what is GIP Squared doing? I'm reverse engineering this and getting it back to where it's supposed to be. But that's why the whole world is in chaos right now. Okay, let's talk about the third thing, interest and compound interest. There is no, according to cosmic law, there is no such thing as interest and compound interest. That is man-made. The only thing that we have, according to cosmic law, is addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Interest and compound interest is causing us to have an unstable, it's unsustainable, the way that our monetary system is. That's because of interest and compound interest. Okay, let's tie everything together using the original 100-foot garden hose analogy that we talked about earlier in earlier lessons. We learned the original garden hose was backed by sound money of gold and silver. we learned the Federal Reserve Act of 1913 started putting holes in the garden hose. So let's go back. Let's assume again that it's 1913 on December 22nd. You went to the store to buy a garden hose. It was perfect. You hooked it up. You watered your plants and flowers. No water leaked out. Then the next day that you woke up, that's when it had 40 holes in the garden hose. That's when the problem started. December 23rd, 1913, when the Federal Reserve came into existence. Okay? Um, then, um, then interest and compound interest came into existence. That really knocked everything way off kilter. That created where we have an unsustainable monetary system. So here's the conclusion. The original garden hose is old, it's antiquated, and it's lost most of its value. Actually, after the calculations, remember using the orange juice container? That after the long weekend, we calculated that the orange juice had 3 ounces of original orange juice and 97% water. Well, according to my recent calculations, the monetary system, it's actually below 3 ounces now. It's actually at 2.95% intrinsic value. That's why things are speeding up, that's why, guys, prices are not, the food costs are not going up. What is happening is the value of the dollar is going down. So the last 6-7 years, we went from like 4% intrinsic value down to, it's actually down to 2.95%. That's why things are escalating so fast, okay? What's the solution? GIP squared is here. We're going to re-engineer it and getting us back to where we're supposed to be. So, okay, that's this lesson. Thank you for being here. Like, comment, and share. We will meet you on the next video. So for now, peace. Cheers, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.